Have y'all taken note of how many burnout videos are on PlantTube these days? Many from our favorite creators. Unifying theme is, I'm overwhelmed and miserable. I'm not currently enjoying my collection anymore. Those are after the fact videos. How do you go from zero to complete burnout? Has anybody put that video together? Stick around. Hey guys, it's Dave. In 11 easy steps, because I kind of feel like the 12th step is owned by another organization. In 11 easy steps, I am going to take you from plant novice to misery pro. And I think no better place to start than where we all started. Buy all the plants. Buy them all. You cannot collect too many plants. When you go to the grocery store for a pint of milk, I want 3 plants to jump into your cart. If the mathematical formula is not n plus 1, n is the number of plants you currently own, plus 1 is the number of plants you need to own, you're doing it wrong. I want you to spend, spend, spend. I want you to spend like you own the treasury. I want you to do this with reckless abandon. This is step 1. If it's an option for you, dive in hard on just one genus. That will make it easier for you to fall out of love with your entire collection all at once. At the very least, I have the first 2 steps on this list ordered correctly. Buy all the plants, for sure. But while you're buying all the plants, make sure you are buying plants that are completely ill-suited to the conditions you currently have or are willing to try to provide. Look at somebody else's collection on YouTube, for instance. Don't consider the conditions they grow in or can provide in their climate. Ignore that completely. Just get the plants that look best. And particularly find some really obscure, say anthurium, that won't grow well outside of their mother greenhouse. Bring those home and just hope for the best. I mean, what could go wrong? Oh, everything can go wrong. If you have a harsh climate like I do during the winter and run furnace heat, it gets more exciting. But if you can find a plant that even a drop in humidity on the order of, say, 0.001, like if somebody callously lights a candle on the other side of the room and the leaves start to curl up and die, you are on the right track, my friend. So now that you have redlined your inheritance and you've got quite a large collection already, it's time to learn how to make these survive. I'm sorry, it's time to make these thrive. Survival is not good enough. I have the internet. I know this is true. The problem is you don't know how to do that yet. So, when in doubt, water your plant. When in doubt, water your plant. Yes, you are going to drown them. And you'll have a very large part of your collection that is on its way over to Grandma and Grandpa's farm where there's more room to grow. They'll be fine at Grandma and Grandpa's farm. In the meantime, you'll be feeling very guilty about all of the money you spent and the terrible shambles you have left your collection in. This is another step in the correct direction. Step 4 is basically the slow-acting poison of sucking the joy out of houseplant care. It is the moral imperative to propagate all of your plants at all times. Nothing, my friends, must be wasted. Not a node, not a corm, not a propagatable leaf from that snake plant that's stuffed down behind the couch in your windowless basement. None of it can go to waste. I freely acknowledge that you already have between 6 and 10 prop boxes filled with rotting plants because your family, they don't want them. Your friends, your coworkers, they've taken all the free plants they can. They don't want to hear about it. They're happy with their collections. They're happy to grow between 1 and 5 plants. They call that reasonable. I call that insanity. We are here to make this as complicated for ourselves as possible on this road to misery, and this is a beaut. Don't waste anything. Okay, let's assume that you actually do have some plants that are mostly alive and aren't looking too terrible. I want you to compare yourself to the best of Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, for instance. I want you to look at the perfection those people allow you to see, or perhaps even the filtered perfection that they have manufactured. Hold yourself to that standard. Look at your plants. Look at those plants. You're not good at this. You should probably be feeling a little bit bad about yourself, maybe even for yourself. A little self-pity right here is warranted and encouraged. You don't have to limit yourself to electronics either, because there's a neighbor down the street. You probably do work with somebody. You probably have one of those annoying Aunt Mays who doesn't even try. They all have better looking collections than you do. All of your effort is not paying off. Now, if you're a 1 out of 10, if you actually have some plants that are looking really good, maybe even worth posting some pictures about, every time you notice a yellow leaf, a shriveled leaf, something that doesn't look quite right on the plant, leave it. Do not touch it, because the internet says that's the real planty life. You are not living the real planty life if you cut off the ugly on your plants. And hey, I am out on that. If I live any more of the real planty life, I'm going to run into friends and be reduced to grunts and like shrugs and the occasional for my communication skills. So I'm excused from this. You are not. So get those really ugly plants up to IG standards and then make them look ugly, and you're in the winner's circle, I guess. Step 6 is one you can just take your foot off the gas, because it doesn't require anything from you other than to underestimate how much work a large collection is. Your large collection right now might be 10 plants, it might be 500, but you will always be adding more. See step 1. And you will always feel behind on projects, filled with anxiety about plant problems, overwhelmed with the magnitude of it. That is how you truly make this a miserable experience. Just keep adding those plants with no thought to how much work it's going to be. How much work it's going to be to take care of the collection, how much work it's going to be to find space to put that collection, if you're lucky enough to have any of them actually grow well. So all of those little monsteras you put on all those cute little shelves, where are those going? Don't think about that right now. That's for tomorrow's misery. The thing is that when you're filled with anxiety about all of the projects you should be doing, the plant problems that you're not addressing, your friends and family are not going to be any help. They don't want to hear it. They will just give you some irrelevant advice like, get rid of some plants and don't buy more. I mean, for the love of Mike. Okay, we love our friends and family. They mean well, but they ain't got a clue. If you got into plants because you love to be a nurturer, step 7 may be a bitter pill to swallow. You need to neglect your plants. Now, the internet calls it benign neglect, but it's neglect. So, minimal watering, minimal care, minimal observation. This is a lifesaver. It is going to save you so much time in the short term. In the short term, this is really going to be a lifesaver. Now, the other side of this coin is that you are almost guaranteed a pest infestation by the time that you note pests on any plant. And while it's impossible to prevent any pest on any plant at any time in this hobby, you can prevent an infestation, but not if you're paying close attention to your collection. Let them go wild while you are saving all that time and benignly neglecting your collection. Pests can go crazy when you're not keeping an eye on them, and that can be your year. You've seen it on YouTube. We've all seen it on YouTube. A never-ending battle with not a pest, multiple pests. And I can't think of any better way to make that happen than through benign neglect. And I wish you luck. By step 8, I think we should have your collection in proper shambles. And you may be desperate enough now to seek the advice of strangers on the internet. Please look for people who deliver advice free of context or nuance with an almost delusional self-confidence. Whether they've been in the hobby for days, weeks, months, years, look for people who give advice definitively. It should end in all caps, always or never, or always never. It can be contradictory advice from the same person. So take it to heart, take it seriously, take it literally. In the real world, you are the only person who is an expert on your growing conditions. That is irrelevant. The advice given, free as it may be, worth that price, is what stands. I shouldn't even have to explain step 9, but I want to make sure that you have a well-rounded picture of how to either get miserable in this hobby or stay miserable in it. And that is the green thumb. You were either born with it or you were not. And if you're asking yourself, do I have a green thumb? You don't. You are either touched with greatness or not. Now, most hobbies, I will admit, they require time and care and effort to develop anything like an expertise, but that's not houseplants. You are either excellent at this from your first plant or you're not. Hold yourself to that standard. Hold yourself to the standard of a finished product summer rain oaks versus you're just starting out your collection. That'll keep you unhappy with this. Did I just take a short break and pour water down my shirt when I was getting a drink? Yes, I did. Am I going to take the time to dry this shirt? No, I am not. Step 10. Step 10 got teeth. Embrace FOMO. Embrace FOMO because the fear of missing out will keep you more unhappy in this hobby than almost anything else will. Except maybe the pest infestation, because that's going to make you pretty damn unhappy. But the fear of missing out on that unicorn, pink pony, super splash, purple dusted Hoya someone somewhere once was talking about, that will keep you hollow inside. That will haunt your dreams. When you finally do track that down at the ends of the earth, or from the Etsy seller, within the first 30 seconds of a search, it still won't satisfy you. The conundrum is this. It's not that you fear out on missing the object. It's not the plant. It's the feeling you're chasing. And buying that object is never, ever gonna satisfy that. This is not advice I usually give in real life. It goes against everything I believe in everything but keeping miserable in plants. And so, let me give you step 11. Don't show yourself any grace. Do not allow yourself a learning curve. Do not allow yourself to learn from mistakes you make along the way and kill fewer and fewer plants. And yeah, I said fewer. Me, you, everyone you know, fewer and fewer plants. But don't do that. Don't allow yourself that. Don't allow that this is going to take a good long time to get really, really good at. Beat yourself up. Feel bad about yourself, compare yourself to other better growers, suck all the joy out of this hobby. And then come join me again in the next one real soon. Bye-bye.